it's time for the introduction to the startup program, and I'm not going to be long. I'm just going to introduce my colleague here. So, Holme and Dahlin, get the show going.
Thank you very much. All right, so I'm going to start up. I'm showing this screen here because we're in transition on figuring out a new kind of brand for the startup program. It used to be the game incubator, but nowadays we are in total darkness, whatever is going to happen with that brand. So, but I'm still going to use this. My name is Holme. I'm a business developer and coach in the former game incubator or the startup program within Sweden Game Arena. I've been working for quite some time. Back then, when we started out, there was only 4 game dev companies within the incubator back then when I started in 2008. Today we are aiming at having around 18 teams and any given day. I've been working with teams like Stunlock Studios, Pieces Interactive, Ludosity, Flamebait, Framebreak, and one of the greatest successes so far, Iron Gate Studios. That's on the main stage right now, or maybe just finished. My role is to manage the program, the kind of content that we want the teams to go through. As I said, we started out in 2004. Back then it was called the Game Incubator, as I said. Since then we've been working with more than 100 startups. We've created more than 500, probably 600 jobs. That's our mission. If we're looking at those logotypes to the right there, those are our financiers. They want to see us creating jobs, but also creating kind of brands and like beacons of fame from Sweden within the game sector, because that's important for Sweden. And Vinnova is constantly looking at developing innovative game experiences. All right, so I'm going to start to tell you a little bit about our process. We just changed it a little bit. We're starting it out with kind of a digital preface. We're handing out material to the teams that apply to the startup program by putting them into kind of an online system. And what we want them to do is to learn about the lean startup model from Eric Ries. We've tampered with it a little bit, so we made it our own to make it more understandable for people not kind of used to working with startups like game devs usually are. But we allow them into that program digitally, and we want them to come up with a hypothesis about their game. So I'm going to tell you more about that soon. But that's what we're doing, and after that we have some sort of a meetup with the team, and they need to present their hypothesis about the game, and that means not just the game idea itself, but they need to develop a hypothesis about the target audience, what channels they're going to meet them in, and also what kind of metrics that they need to be looking at in order to figure out if they're doing a success or not. And if they then choose to go forward into this process, they enter the verification phase. And the verification phase is somewhere about 3 to 4 months. where we want them to verify those hypotheses they have about the game and create an audience big enough for them to sustain themselves economically. After the verification phase, or by the end of it, we want them to go on stage and pitch towards a industry panel. Because you can have the data in the verification phase that shows that this is a great product, but you can also miss the data because you want to be secretive, or you didn't have the time to get those data that you wanted. But then you also have the chance to pitch the game towards an industry panel that can verify the game idea. And once they do that, we allow them into the business phase. And the business phase is easily kind of explained. It's a crash course in business, because generally the teams that we've been working with are not fluent in business at all. They don't have any economical knowledge and no business skill, sales and marketing and so on. So that's what we're trying to give them during that time, and we at least want them to come up with some sort of a business plan in order to proceed to the next step. And the next step could be the scale-up phase, where you're going for venture capital or other kind of funding. And then you need to come up with another business plan that is much more deep into your business and your strategy forward. And once the teams are mature enough, and there are certain criteria as well that they can meet along the way. If they're, for instance, are turning over enough money, we need to exit them as well. We can't support them any further. I should also say that it's fairly cheap to be part of the process and the startup program. We're not here to make money. We're here to make Sweden great again, sort of. No, but we're here to help young entrepreneurs within the game sector to develop their game ideas into companies. All right, so if we're looking at what we're looking for or what we're helping both juniors. That's what that's what our story is. We've helped juniors. Coffee Stain is a great example of that. They started out juniors directly from the university. And we helped them until they left the incubator. But we're also looking now that more and more seniors are coming our way, people that are leaving companies within our community as well as around Sweden. And since the pandemic, we also work online. It's not a problem for us. And of course, we're also, in the future, I would say we're looking for veterans. Veterans that are maybe have made 1 or 2 titles, 3 with more or less success, but they want to scale up their business and grow. So we're looking into some sort of solution for that, just to fast track them through that and make them investment worthy. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about our process regarding the Lean Startup. Lean Startup is all about you're having a hypothesis about a game idea, I would say. And what you need to do is that you have to scope it down to the core and the fundament of the game idea. And you need to build that, or you have to kind of trying to verify it. It's going to be cheap, it's going to be dirty, but it's going to be fast as well. So you came up with that idea, you have to scope it down, and then you start building it, and it can be a paper prototype. You can just fake a clip or whatever. It has been done, or just concept art. It's totally doable, even though you don't believe me, but it is. But the best thing is, of course, that you code it and do something that is able to shown and tested, because then you can get the real data. For instance, on downloads, you can have engagement within the product, followers, etc. But you can also go on the qualitative method, working with interviews, with focus groups, for instance. And from the data that you collect, you need to figure out if we're going the right way, then you should persevere, or if you're not getting any traction, or growing your follower base, maybe you need to pivot. You might just pivot towards another segment of the market, or maybe you should pivot the product itself. And that's what we want you to do in the verification phase over and over again. And Eric Ries, who came up with the lean startup philosophy, says that the ones that are fastest doing this loop on build, measure, learn are the ones that are winning. Okay, so I've jacked about our process now, and my experience. Just, you know, I would say that this is probably most advice towards juniors, maybe. I'm not a game designer myself, but some of the advice that I've come up with during the years, me and my colleagues, is that, for instance, seldomly people are looking for the white space in the market. That is, for me, something very interesting and weird, that people are not looking into the white space. Because if you find that white space, you will not have any competitors. Landfall, for instance, did that with their first game, Airbrawl. Me, myself, I've been looking for that kind of a game, dogfighting game set in more like casual tone. I hadn't seen it, and I was, for myself, looking for it. And all of a sudden I saw it at Kickstarter. And I was thrilled, and I contacted Willem, and we incubated Willem. And you know that it was very successful, Landfall. The game, though, wasn't that very successful. I think it's for free now at Steam. I don't know how many users they have, but it was a really cool game. And another great example is Sanctum, who took like two really good genres and put them together. The first-person shooter and the tower defense. That was total white space in the market. And if we're looking at those teams that have been succeeding within our program, I'd say it's most of them have found that white space in the market. Passepartout is a great example also, I would say. Yeah, and that's, you know, when we're talking about white space, it's usually, when you're talking about business, you're talking about a unique selling proposition. But we would more you guys to focus on the unique value proposition. Selling proposition is one thing, but value proposition is even better to focus on, because everything can be sold with great marketing, but if you can really push the value towards the end user, you will definitely succeed more than just, you know, trying to do cool marketing and stuff. Yeah, and uniqueness will most likely be the reason why anyone will tell a friend, right? Because friends, they want to be appreciated, and they want to be the first guy to tell you something that is brand new and different. And also, friend recommendations is one of the most powerful marketing tools that you will ever come across. And it's also cheap, right? So, and in lean startup philosophy, they usually talk about that as stickiness. So if I can attract one customer, I will attract at least one more customer, or maybe two customers. So, and you should always ask yourself, with that game idea and the uniqueness of it, that why would anyone give a flying fart about your game at all? You have to have something that stands out somehow, and they have to care that much that they want to tell a friend. Yeah, and telling a friend, telling a lot of friends or online friends, you know that the possibilities and the the importance of working with influencers is crucial. And in order to attract influencers to play your game, you need to understand that your game will be their content in order to attract, keep, and monetize their audience. So what in your game will make PewDiePie do or say something epic? Why would any influencers even pick up your game and play it? And how can he or she make anything fun out of it and enjoyable for a stream, for instance? And I have like two different examples here, and that's that there is always a risk if the game is picked up by an influencer. For instance, in this case, we have Unforgiving and Ordered Him from one of our companies at the startup program back in the days, Angry Demon. And I don't, maybe you can see it, but it was viewed by almost 1.8 million viewers. And Markiplier did 6 episodes of that game, playing it all through. And it didn't convert at all into sales, at all, nothing. And of course, that could have to do with the fact that it's a walking simulator and it's got a linear story. On the other hand, getting over it is another great case where influencers can definitely help your case. I remember when I saw Getting Over It the first time, it was Jacksepticeye played the game. And I was, as being a cocky male dude, I thought that how hard can it be? I mean, what the hell is he doing? It can't be that hard. So I went away and bought it, of course. And it took me about 3 minutes to understand that it was super hard. But in that case, the influencers really had an effect on me, and I did convert it. So, and continuing with more advice, always think multi-platform. Don't go just for PC, which is normally the case, at least here in Skövde. When doing the design of the game, always think multi-platform. How will this game be played on a mobile or a console? Console, PC, kind of the same thing, but going mobile or other platforms, you should definitely have it in mind. I mean, look at Iron Gate, that game. There are definitely copies out there now on the game, on mobile, because people need it. They've heard about it. It's extremely successful, and everyone wants to play it. And in certain regions of the world, there are not funds for everyone to have an own personal computer. And Raft is the same thing. There are clones of Raft out there on mobile. And if you ask Coffee Stain about where they made most of their money out of Goat Simulator, that the answer will be that it was mobile. Yeah. as well, think as the big companies. How could you like make sequels out of your game idea? You should never just think about one sole game idea that has a definite ending. Never. Because if you have a success, you would want to iterate on that, or make more content, sell more games. Human Fall Flat is a real good example of that. They had tremendous success, didn't have any plans on moving forward, making more content, but now they are, and they also letting the players themselves make their own levels. Yeah, Angry Birds. In this case, think about your design of the characters and assets or whatever in the game. How can you make merchandise out of it? I'm talking about Rovio and Angry Demon. Not Angry Demon, but Angry Birds. That was one of their kind of key aspects when they were looking at games to invest in. They are saying that, if you can make plushies or candies or shower curtains out of it, we're interested. Otherwise, not. Because it's a great business around it. Yeah, and technically wise, building a game, you invest a lot of money in time to build like infrastructure for a game. Why am I showing Arrowhead's logo here? Is that because Arrowhead is great at doing top view 3D hack and slash games. So they're staying true to their cause and repeating game after game. So that is in the long run, it's very cheap for them, and they're always getting better at it as well. So you know what you get when you buy from Arrowhead. Those are my favorite games, by the way. Yeah, and of course, characters. Lovable characters that could be used over and over again. And I guess this little fella has been doing every kind of game thing that you can do: play tennis, race cars, fighting people, and so on, and jumping on turtles as well. So yeah, those are just some short advice that I would everyone starting up their own game company and planning on a game to think about before they go ahead. So thank you very much. And once again, this is not an official logo, but that's my official name, and you're very welcome to contact me if you have any questions and if you want to start your own company. Do we have any questions here in this tremendous big audience? No? All right. Thank you very much.